I'm Renee Knight with Autonomous Media. I'm here in Orlando, Florida at the AUVSI show, and I'm talking with Darren, Robey, and Ben Griffith from the University of Maryland UAS test site. So thank you both for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat. I know the show's always very busy, so I appreciate it. So yeah, they're going to talk a little bit about the test site and an exciting project that they got going on. So Darren, if you could start by kind of giving us an overview of who you guys are and what you do.
Sure. So I'm Darren Robey. I'm the Chief Pilot and Research Operations Coordinator for the UAS test site. We are a part of the University of Maryland. We've been around for about 9 years, and our main goal is to get research airborne through autonomous systems. We always have ongoing projects where we're engaging with private sector, government, and some military. Recently, we've done work with NOAA doing sea ice studies in Michigan, lake ice studies in Michigan, soon to be sea ice studies in Alaska. And we've finished a project with NASA doing search and rescue beacon testing on unmanned systems. We always have a lot going on, and one of our more exciting projects and long-term projects has to do with integrated airspace over the Chesapeake Bay. And for that, I'll turn it over to Ben Griffith here, who's the project manager for that.
All right. Thanks, Darren. My name is Ben Griffith. I am the new project manager at the University of Maryland UAS test site. One of the really cool projects we have going on that I have the opportunity to lead is a Chesapeake UAS route network over the Chesapeake Bay. And essentially what that is it's unlike anything that the airspace is currently doing or that I'm currently aware of. And essentially what it will be is a set of linear navigable routes along predetermined routes along in my particular region, which is the Chesapeake Bay. And it's so different because the way the current airspace is constructed, a lot of UAS operators and service suppliers have to operate based off either a COA or a type of I'm drawing a blank. What's the corridor, right? And the concept of this project, why it's so special, is this will not be a corridor. It will be a predetermined route. Think of it as like a drone highway, if you will. And currently, the current airspace construct of the NAS isn't really set up for something like this to succeed. And reasons why it's so special is because of the area that is located, which is like the northeast corridor of the United States, and it is right next to DCA, BWI, Dulles Airport, a few military bases, Andrews Air Force Base, Pax River, and so there's a lot of airspace restrictions, which makes this very challenging, but also very exciting. And so I would say that why we're doing this is the industry needs it. It's simple. It's something that I believe that FAA eventually wants to go towards, and it's just a matter of how. And since we are a research driven university, why not be the first ones to take on this task and not be afraid and actually be the ones to kind of mess up first, if you will, because this industry is so special, and there's a lot of good that just this industry can provide to the United States, to the people, to government, law enforcement, military, you name it. And this concept will make life a whole lot easier for the UAS industry, because it will not necessarily eliminate the approval process for the FAA, but it will kind of streamline the process to where you can get these waivers and get these authorizations seamlessly. And so how this is supposed to work is a complete 180 of the current airspace. And so in order for something like this to work, there's a few things that kind of need to happen. One, I've been focusing on the network infrastructure parameters, right? And that just means that in order for this to work, what are some key infrastructure pieces that will need to be integrated, involved in order for this to work? And the name of the game, the aviation, is safety, right? We always care about safety, but in this drone industry, we kind of want to mix safety and make some money as well, and do it as efficiently and as safely as possible. And so, in order for this project to work, prior to me getting to this position, there was a feasibility study done, a very thorough feasibility study done by John Walker and Bedina Group. And essentially, they broke down the entire concept and some of the challenges and mitigations and kind of like the technological challenges, some of the regulatory challenges, and it broke it all down. And so at the end of the study, essentially it said, if we bring in a project manager, can we get this thing to work? And the answer was yes. And so here I am, and I'm just so excited to start this project.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very exciting stuff. Can you talk about, you mentioned kind of the technological challenges. Can you talk a little bit about that piece? And
Right. So the main thing I say that the main challenge is the aerial detect and avoid system, in which how can unmanned systems communicate with unmanned systems? How can you track these systems in Class G uncontrolled airspace, right? And so and we've also learned the technology is essentially there. It's just essentially pulling on the right pieces to bring them together and putting it all together. And so my job is kind of take those pieces in places like this at AUVSI and get to know some of the Cal Analytics Resilient Nexus, a lot of the system health monitoring, ATC, well, not ATC, but air traffic monitoring for drones, bringing them all to the table and say, hey, this is what we're trying to do. This is what is going to be required, and essentially what will be required is a state-of-the-art communication, navigation, surveillance infrastructure, right? And that includes a UTM-like network architecture, automation that can manage the UAS operations. That's one avenue. Another one is envisioning or implementing a scalable IT network infrastructure that pretty much includes solid, sound cyber security practices. Because with the exchange of information, governments and people they want to make sure that information is safe, similar to our phones and all of our personal data. We don't want that out there. And so same thing for this route network and this information and this data that will eventually go into this system to make it happen. And also a standard interface that will enable interoperability between system of systems. So for example, remote ID and other detect and avoid systems that are out there. And the goal is essentially have, in order to run this, I envision, we envision a centralized location, command and control location, and that will be kind of like the home base for an operation. And so you can think of it as if I want to fly something from, we're in Florida, so if I want to fly something from here to Miami or here to Daytona or Tampa, then essentially how it's envisioned in this study is there will be a system that you will log into on the internet and input your flight data, kind of like a flight plan, and press go, and the system will pop up, show you the route that you are going to take, and it will include traffic advisories, real-time traffic advisories. That's really important. Any other, weather forecast and real-time weather. And so it will be, how I envision it, it will be a real-time, all the time system monitoring to make sure that whatever mission that you are implementing, that you're going to do, that while it's en route, making sure that the mission can be completed safely. And so having that information being sent to you in a real-time data display, if you will, will really make an impact on how this operation works.
Yeah, that's very cool. So I guess where do you have like a time frame on what you're thinking when this will be out ready, or?
Yes, absolutely. So it is a multi-phase project,
Sure.
and so about, I think, from time of where we are now to full integration, it's about 5 years. And so, but I want to, I guess, fail as fast as I can, right? And so our goal is to become operational by the end of the year. And although these route networks and these are not determined yet, for testing purposes, we do have solid use cases that we can use, such as medical supply deliveries. We have the Pax River Naval Base wants to use this route network to enter offshore warning areas at higher altitudes, right? And Department of Homeland Security doing maritime surveillance. Like, the use cases are just unlimited, and so yeah, like this interface that I speak of, it currently doesn't exist, and there are pieces and components that are crucial to the success of it, but there isn't like a one size fit all system that can solve the whole problem, right? I can kind of take pieces from here, and here, and then say, hey, I need your idea, and your service, and can we put these together? And this will complete the entire interface that I'm kind of thinking about.
Very cool, very cool. So you're hoping to start doing testing by the end of the year?
Yes, ma'am. And so
Cool.
we have how the feasibility study has it laid out is we have broken down between complex and simple operations,
Okay.
and based off of the operations and funding, right? Our goal is to at least conduct a simple operation by the end of the year, just to show, hey, we did something. No one got hurt. It made it from A to B back to A, and we did it, right? And so as it matures, more routes will be implemented, more system components will be included within that architecture. But essentially, by the end of the year, we want to be able to fly somewhere. And right now, we have a solid use case. It is medical supply delivery. There's an island in Maryland called Smith Island, and they don't have access to hospitals, and so there has been a need to send medical supply deliveries to them. And so why not incorporate that into the route network to show that, hey, this isn't a want. Like, I want to get that. Like, this is not a want. This is a need. And what we're doing here is we're satisfying a need. And this need is super important because this is the future of the airspace. It is the future of the NAS. And for just the UAS industry, which has grown so much, this concept is the next level of this industry, because it will allow user groups and just all these technologies that you see to actually go out and do more stuff. If you speak to anybody here, most of their operations may be limited because of the current regulatory framework. And so what I'm trying to do is essentially take those challenges and say, well, since we're a university and we specialize in research and the development, we can kind of leverage that to implement something like this. And when the FAA or the regulatory parties that want to kind of see what we're doing, they say, hey, we're doing this for research and development purposes. We're not doing this really for money or any kind of monetary gain. We just want to do this to show it can be done. And it's not a secret. We're not trying to hold information back. This is a very, we're a public university. And so, like, we don't have any secrets. The feasibility study is, I'm happy to share it. But my goal is to take that study and make it into a reality. And there's a lot of hurdles that we need to jump. And I'm just excited. Just super excited. So we do have a solid use case that we believe that can be accomplished by the end of the year, and that is medical supply deliveries using a linear route network. So this is or I want to make sure I say this out loud. Like, this is not segregated airspace. It will be non-segregated airspace. It will be completely integrated with manned and unmanned systems. And so the way that airspace is kind of set up right now, operators have to fly based off of visual flight rules, instrument flight rules, and that depends on the meteorological conditions based off of operations by the operator, right? And so what I'm trying to do is take that part away and just say, hey, I want to fly from here to here. I need to take something from point A to point B, and here's a system, and a real-time live display will pop up, and you can see any traffic advisories, any type of obstructions, weather, flock of birds, anything that might be your way, and it's also real time. And so, but in order to get that real time data, it takes collaboration, as I mentioned earlier, with that interoperability to work with law enforcement systems, government systems, third-party systems to actually bring it all together so it flows seamlessly. And so that's my job here, is to find as many service suppliers that want to be involved and want to get on board. But this is new. This is very new. This is what the FAA, I believe the FAA actually in the future, because it will revolutionize the current airspace that we have right now. And that's something that I believe that the U.S. test site and the university should be completely proud of, because it's one of a kind. And so we're proud of that. And so we'll be around for a while, and so I can't wait to see what this turns into.
Yeah, me too. No, this is great. This is really exciting stuff, and I appreciate you guys sharing it with us. Love to see the passion and how excited you are about it, and it's very cool things going on. So great overview. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Do you have anything else either of you want to add that we didn't mention? Or
I think something that should be said is why the Chesapeake? Why there? A lot of people could look at the map, the air charts, and say that's a pretty complex area. There's a lot going on. The risks are high. That's pretty ambitious, and that's kind of the point. If we can prove it there, we can prove it anywhere. We have a lot of stakeholders, a lot of interested parties, and as Ben already mentioned, there's use cases right now within the community right there. The peninsula on the east side of the Chesapeake is really an underserved community. They're a bit isolated, and they are ready to engage with the rest of Maryland and their respective states in meaningful ways to improve commerce and really kind of lift up that community. And I think the same could be said about anywhere in the country. So again, if we could prove it there and really show the impact of what these technologies can do and the safety cases and really kind of showcase a lot of the technologies that are on the floor today and a lot of the work that the industry has done to date and really bring it to bear in the way that everybody wants to see it. It's a really powerful thing that we're pursuing here.
Yeah, and kind of just piggyback off of what he mentioned, like, why the Chesapeake? When you look at, as you mentioned, the map, that area is probably one of the most complex airspaces in the United States because of so many international airports nearby, military bases, and so that airspace for anybody else would be either no-fly zones or, call and get permission to fly here. And so, to his point, if we can do it in this airspace, and we will, then we can do it anywhere. And I just can't emphasize it enough that this will change the airspace that as we know it. The running joke I have is, trying to take Tesla bells and whistles and put it on like a 1960s Ford pickup, right? And so like the airspace is the way things have been done are just kind of just old, just so old and kind of outdated. And this industry is so new, and there's so many positive benefits that come from this that there has to be changes in order for this to really help as many people and touch as many people and just help governments, agencies with national security, taking medical supplies, you name it. This is necessary, And so if we have to be the first ones to, kind of roll our sleeves up and get our hands dirty, then we will do that because we know this industry needs it. We know we're doing good, and we know in the future this is essentially what I just keep saying enough. Like, this is what the industry needs, operators, and this is what it's been missing. And so, why not us?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for sharing this exciting project. I can't wait to see how things unfold and your
thank
first
you.
time. Yeah, we love to hear this kind of stuff. It's great. So thank you both.
Thank you.